Welcome to Blockbuster Tales, where movies come to life through epic breakdowns. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for your weekly dose of cinematic deep dives. Let's dive into the story.
Money Heist Season 6 opens with a world still reeling from the aftermath of the Royal Bank of Spain heist. Although the gang escaped, their freedom is short-lived as international pressure builds. The professor has gone underground, using decoys and digital trickery to mask his trail. However, a new, mysterious task force emerges, headed by a cunning private mercenary leader named Commander Ross. His goal: capture the remaining gang and expose the professor. Tokyo's death left a void, but her legacy still fuels the group. Lisbon, emotionally wounded, now leads the crew from a hidden location in Argentina. The gang is scattered globally: Denver in Mexico, Rio in Chile, Stockholm in Canada. Communication is sparse, but a secret signal from the professor reunites them. They're not planning a new heist, they're fighting to stay alive. Commander Ross captures Marseille in Berlin, triggering panic in the group. Ross tortures Marseille for intel, discovering fragments of the professor's encryption system. Back in Argentina, Lisbon and Bogota devise a plan to break Marseille out and regroup. Meanwhile, the professor initiates his backup plan, reaching out to a new hacker prodigy named Shadow, who operates in the dark web. Shadow decrypts Ross's surveillance protocols and exposes a weak link, an informant in the UN Security Council. Using this advantage, the professor manipulates an international summit to cause chaos. While world leaders are distracted, Lisbon leads a small operation into Berlin to rescue Marseille. The mission is dangerous, but successful. Marseille is free but wounded. Ross retaliates by broadcasting edited footage of the gang's crimes, framing them as terrorists. The global sentiment turns hostile. The professor responds with a live broadcast revealing the corruption of world powers involved in gold laundering, igniting protests. He threatens to release more evidence unless the gang is declared innocent. The world is split between support and condemnation. Denver returns to Madrid under a fake identity to retrieve encrypted hard drives containing the gang's proof of innocence. Ross tracks him, leading to a brutal street chase. Denver narrowly escapes with help from an old ally, Monica's cousin, who's now part of an underground activist group. The drives contain the professor's secret plans. Rio, still traumatized from past torture, hesitates to rejoin. But when Shadow hacks into Ross's prison logs and shows him plans to kill his family, Rio rejoins with fury. The group reunites in a safe house beneath a crumbling church in Barcelona. The professor arrives in disguise, finally face to face with his broken crew. They plan their biggest mission yet, not a heist, but a leak to dismantle global financial tyranny. The hard drives contain secrets of elite banking systems. To broadcast it, they must hijack an international satellite communication tower in Geneva. The tower is guarded by NATO forces. Impossible. Yes, but to the professor, just another challenge. Lisbon trains the group for infiltration, while Shadow builds a cloaking system to bypass digital detection. Bogota constructs magnetic suits to climb the tower undetected. Meanwhile, Ross grows suspicious of Shadow's existence and tracks her through cyber breadcrumbs. He sends a stealth team to find and kill her. Shadow anticipates the move and sets traps in her base, a warehouse rigged with decoy servers and explosives. The team is eliminated, but not before transmitting Shadow's coordinates to Ross. Ross now knows Shadow is real, and a threat greater than the professor. He prepares a strike team. On the night of the operation, the team moves in disguise as utility workers. They split into 3 groups: upload team, security jammer, and distraction crew. As they ascend the tower, Ross's elite guards intercept them. A deadly firefight breaks out. Denver gets injured but refuses to retreat. Meanwhile, Shadow remotely begins uploading the files through a portable transmitter. Ross launches a cyberattack to halt the leak. Shadow, fighting against AI counter systems, loses 30% of the data, but manages to transmit enough to trigger global alarms. Multiple governments panic as the files leak. The distraction team led by Helsinki holds the base while the rest escape. Helsinki is fatally wounded during the firefight, but detonates EMPs, allowing the rest of the group to vanish into the night. The world sees him as a martyr. News channels explode with leaked data on world leaders' hidden crimes. The gang hides in a mountain village near the Swiss border. Emotions run high, grief for Helsinki, guilt over the chaos. But the professor assures them this was never about gold, but truth. He reveals the final phase, distributing the rest of the files through a decentralized blockchain network. Commander Ross, humiliated by the leak, is now being hunted by powerful governments whose secrets are exposed. In desperation, he kidnaps Monica and uses her as leverage to bait Denver and the crew. He sends the video to the group. Monica tied in a vault. Denver, blinded by rage, wants to rush in. But the professor urges patience. They plan a surgical strike. Shadow builds a digital illusion, tricking Ross's network into believing the gang is attacking a decoy site in Rome. Meanwhile, the real team infiltrates his compound in Prague. Inside, the compound is a fortress. Lisbon and Bogota disable the electric grid while Marseille plants explosives at structural points. Stockholm is finally rescued after an intense hand-to-hand fight. Ross escapes through an underground tunnel, wounded but alive. The gang blows. The compound. The world now idolizes the group. Digital freedom fighters. Statues are defaced. Banks stormed by citizens. The professor delivers one final message, revealing the name behind Shadow. Alicia Sierra's daughter, raised by the professor in secret. She smiles as she watches the world burn with truth. Ross, now a fugitive, hides in an offshore oil rig, but a mysterious boat approaches. Inside, Sierra herself, back from exile. She shoots Ross in cold blood, ending his arc. Her loyalty to the professor never wavered. She contacts him via encrypted radio, whispering, "Checkmate." Months pass. The world order is redefined. The gang goes their separate ways. Some returning to normal lives under new identities, others continuing underground resistance. The professor disappears, once again becoming a ghost. But his teachings live on. In the final scenes, a classroom of young hackers in Brazil studies under Shadow. On the chalkboard, La Resistencia no Muir, a new generation rises, preparing for battles not of guns, but of code, truth, and freedom. The revolution continues beyond borders. The camera pans to a cafe in Paris. A man with glasses sips coffee while reading a newspaper. The headline, World Bank CEO resigns amid leak scandal. He smiles, folds the paper, and disappears into the crowd. It's the professor out alive, always watching. And just before the screen fades to black, a voiceover of Tokyo says, "We weren't thieves. We were the spark the world needed." The red jumpsuit returns to the screen, flapping in the wind. On a closed line, the story ends, or begins again.